Test, 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 test. All right, theme song in 3, 2. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here we are, guys. We're back in it. This is episode 361. I do apologize if you hear animals chewing in particular. Listen to this. Disgusting. It's so gross. I don't know if you can pick it up because the soundproofing over here is so good. But Maverick is... I put out that food for that man at 5:30. It's gone by 5:31. Just slop it up. And it's kibble. It's kibble and frozen vegetables. That's what I like to do. I like to if I know something's going to expire, or if I don't finish enough of like broccoli or green beans, and I know that he likes them, and I know they're safe for animals, then I'll do a little cutty cup, chotty chop, and put them in a bag in the freezer, and it helps. Also, I just learned how to feed him correctly. It's been 2.5 years. I just learned that I was giving him a little bit too much, but I was on the right track. Now he just gets a scoop of kibble in the morning, a scoop of kibble at night, and then I give him or a little over a scoop for both, so it gets like 2.5, 2 3/4 cups, and then some vegetables, and then if I have some bread that I didn't finish from the previous week, or the ends of bread, I freeze them and tear them into little pieces and put them on as a topper, or sweet potato, or vegetables. And that saves me some money too. What else happened this week? Mortal Kombat 1. We're going to talk about the Game Awards, but Mortal Kombat 1 released on Xbox Game Pass. I don't know which tier, but I've had discussion about the Xbox Game Pass in a previous episode. I don't remember which one. Anyway, I knew I wanted that game so badly, and I patiently waited for it. Also, another thing happened this week involving video games that I knew was going to happen. I was so gung ho about it, but I didn't know how long it was going to take. I'll talk about that one in a quick sec. But MK1, which is it still takes place, if you're following along with the Mortal Kombat story, it takes place in the current Mortal Kombat timeline, which I guess has been in effect since Mortal Kombat 2011 on Xbox 360 and PS3. I think. Please do not quote me on that. Let's see. Mortal Kombat timeline. And it is a reboot, but still set in the same universe. It's a new timeline. So it's the original timeline ended in Armageddon. And then this new timeline, which has been rebooted, but it started with Mortal Kombat 2011 and then continued through MKX, MK11, and now MK1. It's the same game as Mortal Kombat 2011. It's the same game as MK11 with the rebooted characters. To me, the same fighting mechanics, because that shit is hard. But this is another thing that people don't do, because I've done it. Dude, your mouth is still wet from food. I see you. Yes, go away. Jesus. Just he'll come out, he'll drink water or like eat food, and they'll come over and be like, "Did you see what I did?" And like stuff still dripping. It's gross. His shirt is wet. Anyway, but I played Mortal Kombat for the story. It's very fascinating to me, and it was all because of Mortal Kombat 11. I did play a little bit of Mortal Kombat X. I bought them both on sale for a ridiculous amount of a ridiculous sale, like $4 for MKX, like the complete, and then MK11 including Aftermath was like $5. But anyway, uh, I the story is great if you understand that you're going to see a wild and cartoony story. It's so great, and they take it the characters take it so seriously, especially MK11 and its DLC Aftermath. I think it's a great story. I think it's so fun. And in MK1, I'm only like 3 hours in, maybe like yeah, because I played 2.5, yeah, probably 3 hours in, and it's good. It takes along the same routes. I don't know the consensus because again I don't follow those things, but I'm enjoying it. I understand there's DLC for this too. I do not own it. I do not own this game, so I'll have to buy the game at some point. It refused to go on sale. MKX 10 and Mortal Kombat 11. You can get those on sale constantly for between $4 and $5 all the time. They've been out for a long time. I understand that. I'm waiting for Mortal Kombat 1 to go on sale so I can buy it. Because I want to play the story. I want to play the DLC. As for Mortal Kombat 2011, I looked into it. You cannot buy it digitally anymore. It was delisted. So you have to buy the disc. The same goes for Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which is a game I owned physically. And then I said I must have turned it in to GameStop so I could get some money to buy another game, which is unfortunate. I did the same with several other games when I was a lad. There's so many Pokemon games that I should still have, but I just trade them in because I want to buy other games. It's ridiculous. Let kids work. I never got an allowance. Let kids work. Anyway, then the other thing that happened that I knew was going to happen was at some point. I knew it was going to happen at some point. Hogwarts Legacy is free on Epic Games for this next week. It's in celebration of the Game Awards. I thought that by the time I knew it was going to be free on PC. I knew it was going to be free on PC. That's the thing. I assumed it was going to be free on Epic Games. I never wanted to spend a dime on this game because I do not want to support J.K. Rowling. Unfortunately, it's a fantastic game. It's so good. It's such a good game. I'm currently playing through it right now on Game Pass on Xbox Series X over there, and it's such a good game. And I'm close to the end. I'm very close to the end. I'm almost done with my year. I think I just finished Christmas. It's wonderful. I did not want to spend money on it, and if I did spend money on it, it was going to be less than $10. It was going to be less than. It's been on Switch. I believe it's been on sale for a lot, for like $9. But I don't want to play it on Switch. I want to play it on Xbox. And if I was going to play it portably, it would be on Steam Deck. Anyway, it's on Epic Games. I can't wait. I can't wait to go. I'm going to play Harry Potter again. I'm Slytherin. I always choose Slytherin. Slytherin's great. It's good. They've been people. Yeah. Don't talk bad about Slytherin. Slytherin's good. Slytherin's good. Be no Gryffindor bitch. I want to be Slytherin. No smart ass bitch ass Hufflepuffle bitch. I want to be Slytherin. None of that Ravenclaw. Oh, I'm Ravenclaw. I'm a nerd. Hufflepuff loyalty ass bitch. I want to be Slytherin. Gryffindor. Oh, I'm Harry Potter. Ooh, ooh. Okay. Clip it. Hey, let's get into the news. This is last week. This is from a story from last week. And I was unable to cover it. Hold on, I'm technically working. I have to pull this up every now and then. How come I can't log in on The Athletic? It knows that I'm a part of the New York Times family. This comes from The Athletic. I don't know what's going on here. I am unable to share my Google Chrome with you. I'm still sharing a story from Late Night Lately that's not what it's supposed to be. Oh, here we go. I figured it out. Yes, I did record Late Night Lately. I just put on a shirt, a flannel over the shirt I was wearing. This comes from The Athletic. NFL Red Zone significantly increases commercials in Week 13, written by Sam Jane. Red Zone, prior to its YouTube TV acquisition, was more or less just a perfect place for people who wanted to catch all of the football action. And it's since the acquisition, and not acquisition, since, YouTube TV's now airing of a Red Zone, I believe they're in the third year or something like that. It has become a much more, it used to be commercial free, and now it's become a much more commercialized place, which really stinks. At the beginning of the season, the league said it would be airing only 4 15-second ads throughout its telecast in week 1. People were outraged about it because it used to be commercial-free football. I understand that it costs a lot of money for the NFL to have this, and they want to get money in some fashion, but I've been defending the Netflix Warner Brothers deal, and it to me it seems like on the outside I'm like, am I going corporate? No, this is the only way for Warner Brothers to exist at this point, because Warner Brothers is not going to be able to, unless somebody buys it. Seth Rogen and his writing partner, kind of jokingly said it'd be great if AMC, the theater chain, would buy it, and that would be wonderful if they would buy Warner Brothers. I'd support anybody but Paramount buying Warner Brothers. That is my answer. But some part of me is like, am I defending the corporation? Anyway. YouTube TV charges so much for this NFL Red Zone package, and people should be able to watch NFL games wherever for the amount. I think it's like $300 for the amount they're paying on top of YouTube TV. If people want to watch every MLB game, they can go to MLB and subscribe to them directly and pay, however much. They can do the same thing for NBA. It should be the exact same thing. And after you pay hundreds of dollars to watch, you shouldn't get ads. Like, period. Like, that's just, and in fact, if you're paying hundreds of dollars for the NFL pass or the NBA pass or the MLB pass or soccer or whatever, or F1, there should be, and this is why I started watching F1, is because I turn it on Sunday morning, that turn on that actual race itself. And for 2.5 hours, it's just racing. It's nothing but racing. I would love that for golf. I would love that for football. Even if it's just the guys standing around with their hands on their hips waiting for the next play to start. So I understand people's frustration when it comes to their football being interrupted by 15 seconds of a Tostitos ad. 4 times. During Sunday's Week 13 broadcast, this is an old article, Red Zone aired 16 advertisements ranging from 15 to 20 seconds long, according to Sports Business Journal's Josh Carpenter. The telecast ran 2 minutes of double box advertisements, evenly split across the early and late windows of the game. The league ran the same number of double box ads in Week 1. The broadcast also displayed a 30-second double box ad with DraftKings once the games ended. Red Zone added the double box advertisements in 2025 as a way to monetize the show. It also continued to run its graphics banner ads, which were around 20 seconds, and it is now airing more sponsored segments throughout the show. Carpenter found that Allstate sponsored a 30-second Good Hands segment. Progressive, Lowe's, DraftKings, Mercedes-Benz, and Accenture each had their own sponsored segments. It's getting to be unnerving how many, I don't think unnerving is the right word, but it's getting to be unnerving how many ads are showing up in sports things. You paid the money, or excuse me, a company paid you. You should already have a shit ton of money. It doesn't matter. We don't want to see this stuff while we're watching sports. So when I was watching the Las Vegas Grand Prix, I went, "Who was sponsoring this?" And all you saw was just like the giant ads at the start. It's crazy. Also, I have a big issue with what I saw at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The Peloton did. Um, they had some sponsored classes there, which is great. You know, it's fine. And they had some cycling classes and a core class, I believe. Um, was there a treadmill class? I think it was all cycling classes. Anyway, but they brought their brand of mental health there, and which I'm not proud of. Anyway, during the race, which was like a Sunday morning at like 10 a.m. or so. Or no. Excuse me, because I watched it in the morning. That's right. During the race, on the Las Vegas Sphere, there was a giant ad for Peloton, maybe like twice, and all I could think is you put out they just refreshed all of their equipment, 2 treadmills, 2 bikes, and a rower. They refreshed all their equipment, and if people are mad about iterative upgrades between cell phones, the upgrades they did for these 5 new devices are laughable, and the prices are ridiculous. Anyway, I saw that ad, and I saw the ads, and I just thought, holy shit! Like, you could have spent that money on making better devices, on advertising to other people who aren't at this Las Vegas Grand Prix. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the classes were fine. Oh, there was one tread class because it was with Bex Gentry. That's right, because I did that one morning, and I was late for the gym because of it, because it was a 30-minute class, and I wake up at ridiculous hours. Anyway, people are noticing these ads, and they're obviously going to talk about them. The NFL chose to put these ads in there, and now and this time is just being. It used to be 7 hours of commercial-free football, but I think you're just going to drive away, especially because Red Zone can only be gotten on YouTube TV, whereas before it was only on DirecTV. It should not be a gated concept, and if there's going to be a gated concept for the price that people are paying, then it needs to be exactly commercial-free. I get how, you know, on Hulu, some shows still have commercials, like New Girl still has commercials, even though you pay for ad-free. I understand that, because those are just deals that are just out of your power. But I don't. A lot of people, no one likes this idea of having to see these banner ads because you want more money. Now for golf, broadcasting has gotten a little bit better on the Golf Network, on CBS, and on NBC. They started within recent years for both the LPGA and the PGA. I do not watch Live Golf. Fuck those guys. Fuck every single one of them for taking the money. But they do the picture in picture thing too, with the ad, and then like golf is still playing. So it's gotten a little bit better, but not by much. Going on, this is from Eurogamer, and it's written by Ed Nightingale. Warner Bros. Games studios are relatively minor to Netflix, as acquisition reveals harsh reality of the business. Warner Brothers Games used to be fantastic. They had a team with Rocksteady, I believe, who produced and created the Batman Arkham series, and now the ill-fated Gotham Knights. Oh, goodness me. And Suicide Squad and other games that are not enjoyable. But when Netflix acquired when Netflix announced its intention to acquire Warner Brothers, it also included the game studios, which is something that I wanted answered. I wasn't sure until this week when this was announced. I know I could have looked it up, but I said, no, I refuse to do that. Also, yeah, why would the cable networks be spun off with the games? Doesn't make sense. In the company's latest earning calls, Netflix co-CEO Gregory Peters made it clear gaming was not a major consideration as part of its bid. He says, quote, while they definitely have been doing some great work in the game space, we actually didn't attribute any value to that from the get-go because they're relatively minor compared to the grand scheme of things, which means of the $83 billion that they offered for Warner Brothers, that they tendered to Warner Brothers, that was not part of the decision when it came to saying, hey, we're also going to get the games too. Now, oh Jesus, maybe games. I can smell pet food. It's disgusting, or delicious. Now, the latest games in the Warner Brothers games slate have included DC Worlds Collide, which is a mobile game, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, which was a Quidditch game that came out at the same time of Hogwarts Legacy. In Hogwarts Legacy, it's very funny. They pretty much upfront tell you, hey, we're not doing Quidditch this year for other reasons. Like in game, they're like, oh, I'm so mad that they canceled the Quidditch this season. What are we going to do? You can still fly on a mount and fly on brooms, obviously, which is it's the best flying I've experienced in a video game. It is so... it does have its issues, but it feels so good to go from one end of the map to the other end. And let me tell you, it takes a long time to fly to one end of the map. It feels so natural. I enjoy it. MK1, Mortal Kombat 1, the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. So they've had their ups and downs. In recent years, there's been more downs. They canceled a Wonder Woman game that was going to use the same mechanics of the Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games, wherein there's a nemesis system thing where in those games, and it's such a good system where there are like all these tiny little they're not goblins, orc bosses around, and they have different names, they have different personalities and different ways to defeat them. There's dozens, like maybe 70 or 80 of them. I don't know the exact number, but there's so many between each of the games. And if you beat them, they remember you, and if you lose to them, they remember you, and they get stronger or weaker based on that fact. It's so fun, and there's bosses within those, or little bosses within those bosses. It's great. Anyway, the games have not been doing very well, and it's 2025 Q1 earnings report. The Warner Brothers Games Studios. The company reported a 48% decrease in games revenue due to no new releases. Its most recent earnings report from November reports a 23% decrease, again due to no new releases. They canceled an expansion of Hogwarts Legacy. They had layoffs at Rocksteady because Suicide Squad flopped. The cancellation of the Wonder Woman game, which came from Monolith Productions. And they shut down Multiversus, which was a brawler that featured Warner Brothers characters, like the Gremlins and Shaggy and Looney Tunes and stuff like that, and Superman as DC characters. The thing is, Hogwarts Legacy sold over 34 million copies. It's one of the best-selling games ever, and a sequel's in the works, but there's an in-between space that comes with video game companies in that the game comes out. What used to happen is before the advent of internet stuff, the game comes out, it does well, they make a sequel. Now, there's this inline sequence where it used to be the game comes out, it does well, there's DLC for it, and it's usually like, a single player story or whatever. And then there's more add-ons, and then the sequel comes out. Now, between that, it's the game comes out, there's an online component. The online component does really well. They only focus on the online component. Nothing else comes out. There's no single player stuff. This is why I'm an advocate for single player stuff games. That's why I do want to play the Call of Duty single player, because I don't want to go online and have people cheat and not have fun, and I won't have fun when it comes to playing online. I just don't want that. But I do want to play the Mortal Kombat story and the Hogwarts Legacy story, and there's no multiplayer in that, and the Red Dead Redemption story. But unfortunately, because Grand Theft Auto Online, they see how much money can be made from Grand Theft Auto Online and Red Dead Redemption 2's online. Uh, there's no, the emphasis to be a single player game is no longer there. But they don't. But these companies never see that Spider-Man 2 did really well. It just did well in a different fashion because there's no online component. But what's still downloaded to my PlayStation 5? Spider-Man 2. What's not downloaded to my Xbox? Call of Duty. What's not downloaded to my Switch? Any game that has to be online, unfortunately. What's not downloaded to my PS5? A game that has multiplayer. I don't want to play. There's gamers out there who don't play online games. It makes sense that Netflix doesn't really see value in games, and also they've upped their games on the Netflix app. You can down. What do I have on my phone that's from Netflix? I have the Dead Cells game. Dead Cells is a great roguelite game. Roguelike game, excuse me. Roguelite is a subgenre within that, but I can play Dead Cells without having to rebuy the game. It's a game I own a couple of times over. Let's see. For their game section, you can. It's the one time the games don't pop up. They have Red Dead Redemption. They've released Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto on Netflix. Sonic Mania Plus, and this all comes with your subscription. However, they're not creating a lot of these games. They acquired Red Dead Redemption. They acquired Grand Theft Auto. Every game that they've done has not been something that they've naturally created themselves. Like this SpongeBob Get Cooking is something that they've done, and it doesn't look very good. It just looks like one of those very shitty early model games. Whereas if I click on Red Dead Redemption, it's going to be more or less the Red Dead Redemption that is now currently on my Xbox Series X. The reason why they have Red Dead Redemption is because they just Rockstar just re-released it, an updated version, and thank goodness I don't have to spend a dime on it. But also, I've read it's not very well updated. In the same way that San Andreas, GTA 3, and Vice City aren't very well updated. I'll have to check my email. Hold on. Oh, phew. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. And we are... Hold on, I have to type a message. Okay. Yeah, it's... I don't know. I don't know what Netflix wants to do with their games. If I am Netflix and I have the opportunity to purchase Warner Brothers, and I am and they have a known knowledge for games via Rocksteady and Monolith and all these other companies or all these other subsidiaries they own, I would say I would put a little bit of value for that. In fact, if I have Netflix, I would just buy everything. And then with the legacy networks, I would just figure out what to do with that. Netflix could own CNN. It'd be great. It'd be great to see Netflix owning CNN and put CNN on Netflix. That's how you get your live streaming aspect. And if people just want CNN, they just go to CNNplus.com or CNN.com, whatever. See, the thing is, David Ellison. This is what's so frustrating. David Ellison, if he got control of Warner Brothers, including the legacy networks, they would merge CNN with CBS, and also he has Trump in his ear, and he's just like his father. He's been very much courting Trump. You don't want Trump infecting CNN. They already have Tapper. They're already center right. I have such a big issue with Jake Tapper. I don't want to get too into the weeds. Okay. And next up, this comes from the Hollywood Reporter. It's written by Eric Hayden. Disney to invest $1 billion in OpenAI in a major deal that boosts Sora in Hollywood. This is something they're now going Disney to set up a deal with OpenAI where they're allowing clips of 200 characters from Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars franchises to be used. It's important. It's just the likenesses of the characters. No voices will be used. This is not something that you want to happen, but Disney is supposedly they're trying to be on the forefront. They don't want to be behind when it comes to AI stuff. It's a 3-year deal. This comes like a day after they sued Google for saying that they are, they're using like a breach of whatever infringement when it comes to use of their characters being created on Gemini or something along those lines. Please do not quote me on that. It's something that you can this Sora deal. You're going to be seeing fan inspired Sora short film videos. That's a quote from Disney on Disney Plus. Bob Iger hinted at this on November 13th during an earnings call. I do not want to see this. I do not want to pay money for Disney Plus and go on that platform and see AI generated Schlop. I want Schlop. Oh God. I don't want to see that. It's something that people should be able to avoid if they're not a fan of it. I can only imagine what a dating app looks like now, and even with verification, it's still something that is still going to be rough per people. All of Hollywood's major talent agencies were particularly vocal about destructive elements of Sora at one point, and WME, CAA, and UTA signaled that they stood with their clients against the product. WME once opted out of all of its clients from Sora. CAA called it a, quote, misuse of emerging technology, and UTA called it exploitation and innovation. This new deal starts in early 2026. Sora is a part of ChatGPT. Sam Altman was on the Tonight Show, and I did not see the interview, but I mentioned on Late Night Lately that why is it happening? It should not be. It doesn't. It's not something I want to see. Again, Iger wants to be ahead of everything, and I understand this. I'm not faulting the company for this, and I'm glad that, to the very least, at this point in time, you will not be getting the likes of. I was going to say Benicio del Toro, but that's wrong. Who's name? Oscar Isaac. You won't be getting Oscar Isaac's voice, his Poe Dameron. You won't be seeing or hearing him. You won't be hearing him at all. You won't be hearing Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. This is why Robin Williams was ahead of the time. You can't reuse his voice or likeness at all, which is fantastic. He put that in his contract. But this is where we're going, and these are the protections that actors, directors, producers, everybody was fighting for. The biggest studio partnership with an AI firm was Lionsgate's deal with Runway, which they started in September of last year. The pact was a training data agreement allowing Runway access to titles from Lionsgate's 20,000 title library in order to, quote, develop cutting-edge, capital-efficient content creation opportunities. The most interesting fact about this Disney deal with OpenAI, it sidesteps the library training question, but puts the studio firmly on the side of seeing AI as a growth opportunity for licensing deals to further monetize its treasure trove of IP. Now, I have a unique perspective on this. I'm currently working at a job that is in television, and there has been discussion of AI tool use. When I signed my contract, there was also an AI thing, but there was discussion of AI tool use with this job. The company and I won't. I don't want to get too specific. The company went to the head of my team, the heads of my team, and this is before I was signed on, obviously. And they said, without talking to the team first, hey, we bought licensed use of this tool. Use it. They didn't ask. They just said, just go ahead and use it. And then I was only told the story in passing a couple of days ago. Over the course of the past 9 months that they had access to this tool, or they now have access to this tool, they were trying to find ways to implement it. And it's not something that, and as I always say, AI is a tool. You cannot use it to make a whole movie, a whole song, a whole TV show. That's impossible at this point in time. But we shouldn't run from it, unfortunately, which stinks. But you should not rely on it. It should not be something you rely on it. Again, you cannot build a house with just a hammer. You cannot build an entire house with just a hammer. This entire apartment complex was not built with just a hammer. There are multiple things that were used with it. Most importantly, human intervention. So, at this job, they've found small ways to implement use of this tool, which makes sense. Things that, quite frankly, humans don't want to go back and do, like tiny, tiny, tiny little things. So for Disney, this is them not, again, I feel like I'm defending corporations, but I'm not. I don't know if I said this during this show or Late Night Lately, but for Disney, this is them peeking their head into the now, but not being reliant on it, which is good. And I think that's a wise decision, but it's more important to be a little bit hesitant as opposed to going in gung ho, because that's yes, it'll make you money, it'll make the AI company money, but that's just going to piss a lot of people off. And this is like, I'm sure every adult had this thought. People are going to make the mom from Pixar's Incredibles like porn immediately. But it probably already exists. Rule 34. Now, Disney, prior to this deal, sued, like literally a day before, sued Google. Prior to that, because the Google's Gemini thing. Prior to that, Disney's embrace of the San Francisco based OpenAI stands in contrast to its blistering lawsuit the studio leveled against its competitor Midjourney, which it sued in July along with Universal, in a suit that described the David Holes-run generative AI firm as a, quote, bottomless pit of plagiarism. Warner Brothers Discovery later joined that legal battle as well. Midjourney have essentially allowed users to create Darth Vader images based on Disney IP without compensating the studio at all. Disney only cares about their bottom line. They really don't care if James Earl Jones makes money from anything. Also, James is dead. This is CNN. Did they pay for that like once, or do they have to keep, like every time they use it? Do they have to give his family money? All right. What is this? Sorry, I'm looking at my email too. Let's move on to the Game Awards. Now, the Game Awards were this past Thursday. If you know video games at all, it's they want it to be essentially the video gaming Oscars, and I do think that is a misnomer. That is not something that should be in consideration. But Jeff Keighley hosts it. He's been a video game talking head figure for as long as I can remember. He's a very smart guy, and he's the person you probably want. You know, like the vanilla cookie cutter person who can deliver a joke and also be pretty interesting and fun down the line. What is going on over there? My goodness. Oh, good Lord, these kids are going to be a death of me. He sat down with the Game Business Show's Christopher Dring to talk about the business of running the Game Awards, and it's a pretty interesting conversation. I did not finish it all. Anyway, we knew that there were going to be games like Dispatch and Clair Obscur Obsidian winning the big awards all night long. In fact, Clair Obscur, I believe, won pretty much everything. If you play video games and you want, speaking of single player games earlier this discussion, and you want a single player game that tells a fascinating and vivid story, Clair Obscur is that game. It's an RPG. The battle mechanics are good, not great. I despise. I hate. I am not a fan of their block and parry mechanics. In fact, when the game came out and they were getting so much praise, the block and parry mechanics were the only thing that people were not fans of. They weren't fans of. And at one point, the developers were like, "No, you have to be good at it." And then at another point, they're like, "Yeah, maybe it's not very good." So the Game Awards, they talk about all the platforms: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, as well as PC. They have all of these, but now all of those platforms have their own events where they show off their upcoming games. You know, Xbox is going to have one in early 2026 to talk about the games that they have for a little bit. PlayStation has direct talks and chats. Nintendo has some chats all the time, and now even PC stuff is happening periodically, along with the Summer Game Fest and Gamescom and other events. It's just tough to get things that you can stand out with. And for the Game Awards, what their problem is they're trying to be a award show with hype show at the same time. And in watching the show last night, I admittedly only watched like 20 or 30 minutes of it, but the first 20 or 30 minutes, they were filled with two big awards, I believe, as well as appearances by famous people like Jeffrey Wright and his son, who I think were in Dispatch. It's a game I wish listed. I have to wait to play it. I'm playing other things right now. But they've trapped themselves in being an award show and a hype show, which is unfortunate because if I were watching the Oscars or the Golden Globes and I saw a trailer for a movie that has yet to release, or even the Emmys and I saw a trailer for a show that has yet to release, I would be pissed. I don't want to see that. You don't have to be the hype show. If you want to be taken a little bit more seriously, and I'm not saying we need to have the prestige of the Oscars, but what I am saying is that it's not necessary for them to premiere video game trailers for games that aren't even out. There was a trailer, the first trailer they showed was for another take on the Knights of the Old Republic. I believe it's called The Fate of the Republic, a Star Wars game. Two of these, the Knights of the Old Republic, are very popular, probably the best RPG games for Star Wars. And Jason Schreier came out and said Fate of the Old Republic is probably not even coming out in 2027. So why would you announce this game? Why would I sit and watch the Oscars and see a trailer for Avatar 4 when Avatar 3 isn't even out yet? This isn't it doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be Oscars and the Super Bowl and this and that. It can just be one thing. And that balancing act has really gotten people's hype up because now they expect these big developments. But on the other end of that spectrum, why would people tune in to watch the Game Awards, if they're not going to see the two new Tomb Raider games that were announced? Well, one's a remake, I believe, and the other one is new. So why would they tune in and watch not famous people, but video game people get up and talk about Clair Obscur Obsidian or Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza. I don't ask me to name any of the games that came out this year because I have no clue. So watch that conversation, and then on The Verge, this comes from Ash Paris. It is, and I didn't show you the video because it's just like a video. The Game Awards are losing their luster. It's big. It's big again, but it's so many commercials and celebrities. Game developers aren't really getting their due, and they are getting acknowledged, but it has become such a big platform. In 2023, Future Class wrote an open letter to the Game Awards and Keighley demanding recognition of the war in Gaza, because that's how big the Game Awards are. In 2022, the awards acknowledged the war in Ukraine. See, this is what happens when you get this big. Then there's memes and people focus on things like the flute guy. I didn't know that existed until today, where I saw an article that said the flute guy is still doing this thing. And I went, what the fuck is a flute guy? Because the Game Awards is based online, there's a lot of people that watch it. In 2024, they had 154 million live streams. That's how I watch the Game Awards, and I won a Steam Deck. God, I wish that would happen again. And now, this comes from Alyssa Mercante over at Kotaku. And you know this is big when I go to Kotaku, because I despise Kotaku. I love despise. It's my new word. Some nominated game devs can't even afford to be part of the Game Awards. The Game Awards has, by all means, for all intents and purposes, become one of the bigger video game. It has become, Summer Games Fest is the new E3, the new online only E3, I guess. This has become like a winter E3, more or less, where it's getting all of this attention, and the people who really need to be there can't. Hold on, I'm trying to find the part that I was interested in. The Game Awards is held at the Peacock Theater. That seats 7,100 people. A lot of people have their hands in those seats, in those pockets. There's sponsorships, reveals, trailers, previews, surprises, and everything. People have to be able to go to these awards because there's a lot of hands in those pots. Prices keep going up for even ad spots at the Game Awards. According to two sources familiar with this year's show, a 60-second trailer during the 2025 ceremony can cost up to $450,000. A 3-minute trailer costs over $1 million. Two separate sources in the video game publishing world said that while they had not been briefed on this year's rates, these sounded in line with what they'd expect from previous years. I wonder, if the video game industry is turning towards Hollywood, and Clair Obscur Obsidian and Dispatch, Jeffrey Wright is in that game. In Clair Obscur Obsidian, we have Charlie Cox. On the other end of the spectrum, for popular voice actors, there's Troy Baker, there's Jennifer English. I can't think of anybody right now. Jennifer Hale, that's one. And these people do get their acknowledgement, but when a Charlie Cox appears in a game, people only want to focus on that. I was going to ruin a part of Clair Obscur Obsidian, but I'm telling you, go play that game. But Charlie Cox, the good guy that he is, he acknowledges that, hey, I barely had anything to do with this game. It's the people that make the game that are important. which is great. I really enjoyed that. A source told Kotaku that Sandfall Interactive, the studio behind this year's Clair Obscur Expedition, have I been saying Obsidian? Clair Obscur Expedition 33, bought a swath of tickets at face value, around $300 each, to ensure more of the team could attend. Expedition 33 recently set a record for the most nominations at the Game Awards history with 12, so the desire to send as many people to the ceremony as possible makes sense. Sandfall did not respond to requests for comment. It costs a lot to go to award shows, and these game developers should get their recognition. And when it comes to how big the Game Awards have gotten, it's easy to get lost in the sight, in the idea that, hey, we have to get, in the same way that NFL probably sees, they want to see more money from Red Zone. The Game Awards producers are probably like, hey, we have to get more money to keep this up, to keep up the spectacle, which is what it is now, a spectacle. We're going to have to charge more for seats. We're going to have to charge more because we have Jeffrey Wright presenting an award. we have to charge more because, hey, Crystal Dynamics is going to announce 2 new Tomb Raider games. I didn't feel the urge to continue watching the awards. They started at 7:30, I believe, with the pre-show, and then 8 with the main show. I knew once I finished dinner, once I finished cooking, once I finished the dishes, at 7 o'clock, I was going to sit down and play Mortal Kombat. And then at 7:30, I said, oh, the Game Awards are going to come on soon. And then at 8 o'clock, I picked up the iPad, and I put it on the armrest next to me, and I started watching the show in the corner of my eye as the story for Mortal Kombat 1 unfolded. And then once I saw a trailer come up, I immediately paused the game and I went, let me see what this trailer is. And that's exactly why I turned it into the award show. It was unfortunate. But then I saw the woman who played the little girl on Clair Obscur win, and I wanted to see her speech because she did a fantastic job. Oh, God, I wish I could talk about that game. In a couple of months, I will. I have rules. I won't, if I wanted to play a game, but it was spoiled for me a couple of years after the fact, that's fine. But if I wanted to play a game, because if I wanted to play it, then I would find a way to play it. So I give it a year lead time. For movies, a couple of weeks. If I want to see Avatar Fire and Ash, I have to see it within 2 weeks. I did it for Wicked, but also I knew the story of Wicked. I did it for, what's the movie I saw before Wicked? Zootopia 2. I waited a week and change. Anyway, that's all the news I have for you this week. I'm starving. If you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see every interview I've ever done, mostly. That's right, the archive is up at cpluscomedy.com. Go see me talk to excellent, wonderful people, including, as I pull it up here, I'm going to scroll to random, stop, Matt Koff and Matt Eisman. Let's do the bats. Matt Bronger from 2015, because I spoke to him again, and Matt Besser. So go see me talk to those wonderful people. Those are the written versions, the archives. They're up right now at cpluscomedy.com/the-interviews. For video interviews, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see me talk to people like Mike Kaplan and other famous people, Tiffany Haddish, Sally Ann Hall, Gabby Gutierrez-Reed, Josh Gondelman, Jim Tews. On youtube.com/cpluscomedy, you can also see a video version of this show, as well as the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.